Hi, gang, it's Adam.
And Patrick.
Coming up on today's episode, we talk with Mike Van Eaton of Van Eaton Galleries about collecting Disneyana and the gallery's upcoming auction, Walt Disney, the man, the studio, and the parks. As always, we cover the latest Disney news and close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Why, if it isn't Patrick Cornucopia Kozaki.
Wow, cornucopia. That's an interesting pronunciation.
Cornucopia.
I'm not certain that's how you're supposed to say it, but I welcome it. Adam, cranberry sauce Hummel.
I love a cranberry sauce.
I like a fresh cranberry sauce. I'm not a big canned cranberry sauce type of guy.
You know what? Let that can open up. I want to hear that as it slides out of the can. I want to be able to cut it with a butter knife.
Gross. That is gross. You're a hill person, but listen, it's Thanksgiving. I will pardon you for that.
It is Thanksgiving. How are you doing, Patrick?
I am delightful. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
I am also delightful. We want to wish all of our Tweedles out there a very, very, very happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Send us your Thanksgiving pictures if you celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yes, please do that. We know things may not be as traditional as they normally are this year, but find some special little way to celebrate and make that day fun, unique.
That's right. Thanksgiving it up.
Thanksgiving it up. You know what else we have to celebrate this week, Patrick?
Please tell me.
The day of your birth.
Oh, do we have to celebrate it?
We do have to celebrate it. November 25th, everyone. Patrick Kozaki came into this world with a song and a smile, and he's been singing and dancing his way into our hearts ever since.
That's right. I came out tap dancing with a top hat and a cane.
It was a painful birth for his mother. Very painful.
It's true. It's true. Speaking of which, it's my mother's birthday this week as well on the 22nd. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Pat. Happy birthday, Patrick. How are you going to celebrate your birthday?
I'm probably going to wake up and have some breakfast, take a nap, have a second breakfast, and then go back to bed.
Thank you for that very detailed breakdown of your birthday.
Yeah, I can give you a time calendar stamp as I do those activities as well on that day.
Well, listen, this is the last year of your 30s. How does that feel?
It's maybe my last year, Adam. Who knows? Who can say? It feels great. It feels great. We're ending the 30s with a bang.
Yeah, or just like a silent kind of.
Yeah, it's like cranberries sliding out of a can.
This whole pandemic has been nothing but cranberries sliding out of a can.
Yep, I'm just waiting for that plop to happen.
Well, Patrick, we love you. Happy birthday. Celebrate, live it up, have some cocktails, have some more cocktails, and then post a lot of videos to your Instagram feed.
I will. And then my Instagram will be taken down immediately.
This is what does it.
This is how it happens, folks. This is how it happens. Well, moving on, Adam, we have a lovely note from a Tweedledee, Kevin, who's on Instagram, KDevo11. And Kevin had some feedback from last week's episode of A Walk in the Park, Disney's Hollywood Studios, Part 3, Adam. Disney's Hollywood Studios, the third.
It's a trilogy.
It is a trilogy. That means anyone can die.
That's true.
Everyone's fair game in the third part. But Kevin says, wanted to say the ABC commissary is our go-to spot for a quick chicken nugget break. I love those chicken nuggets. They have mobile ordering that no one uses, and you can have your chicken nuggets before the line moves if you are there during peak times. Well, thank you for that hot tip, Kevin.
That's a great tip. Take a break and have some chicken nuggets. You know, we kind of razzed the ABC commissary last week, but Kevin's like, no, stop in and grab yourself some chicken nuggies.
That's right. Chicken nuggets are hard to do wrong, so I recommend getting chicken nuggets if you're afraid of the menu. That's a little hot tip from me, a little birthday tip.
Oh, Patrick, I adore you. Yes. So thank you, Kevin. We also have a shout out to give to Rachel, who you can find on Instagram at lovejjk4. Rachel sent us the following message, and we obtained her permission to share it. So here's what Rachel says. I want to thank you for making me laugh every day with your podcast. My husband and I are in the process of adopting our precious little girl. It has not been an easy process, and there was lots of ups and downs and not knowing if we were going to get her. It is finally going through, and we are just waiting on the court date. So thank you for helping me laugh and getting me through some tough days. P.S. How do I celebrate? By booking a Disney trip, of course. We will be going next November. Rachel goes on to say, I am very open about adoption, and if you want to, you can mention it. That way, if any of your listeners are going through the same thing, they can always vent to me about it. We all need support in this difficult time in the world, and adding adoption on top of that. Rachel, that is so sweet of you to offer ear to anyone out there who is going through some difficulty with that adoption process, which both Patrick and I know. We have friends who have gone through it, and it can be a real struggle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for reaching out to us. Clearly, you're listening to a different podcast, though I'm not sure which one's making you laugh. It can't be ours. Can't be ours.
What if it's so bad that it's laughable?
That might be it. She's laughing at us, not with us at all.
She's actually going to start a competing podcast with her newly adopted daughter, and it will be more successful than ours.
I would listen. I saw a picture of that adorable little girl, and that would be the best podcast ever.
Cutest, for sure. I mean, she'd have some competition, but she's pretty cute, yeah.
That's true. I have the same dress, so we'll have to do a side-by-side comparison. Well, moving on, Adam, we should mention that this week on November 20th, or I should say last week as we're recording now, I don't know what time is anymore, but the castle in the Disney Hong Kong park was unveiled, the new Castle of Magical Dreams.
They stole that name from my apartment. That's what I call my apartment every time I walk into it. Look at this Castle of Magical Dreams.
They plussed it a little bit, though, from your apartment.
Boy, oh boy, did they plus that castle. It's gorgeous.
It is. It's really beautiful. And I was a little nervous when I heard about it. I think we reported on it when they first announced they were going to do it. And for those who don't know, it's sort of a mashup of basically all of the Disney princesses and then some into one castle. So you're getting elements from over 13 or 14 different Disney stories. And they did a really beautiful job. It's really inspiring to look at, I would say.
Inspiring, because there's spires on that castle.
Heyo.
Wasn't worth it.
Pause for laughter. No need to pause anymore. It is a great castle, though.
You know what would make us feel better? We should get a laughter button and just press that anytime we need a big old guffaw in this podcast.
I like that idea. I like that. A laugh track.
But that castle, Patrick, yeah, it is so gorgeous and such a great tribute to the traditionally recognized princesses. And as you said, they added on a few other characters that they wanted to kind of call out in the design.
Exactly. It's sort of an Easter egg of a castle. There's Mushu on there. You can find them. I think the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty are in the archway casting spells on you. I don't know what they're doing.
That's all they do. It's all they have time for.
It's true. It's very true.
Well, for those of you that go to Hong Kong Disneyland, please send us all of your pictures. We want to see that castle up close and in person. And hopefully, Patrick, someday we'll be able to make our way to Hong Kong Disneyland and view it with our very own eyes.
I see it for us in our future. But before we get to our future, Adam, we have to look at our past, don't we?
Oh, man, you nailed that transition.
Who am I, Rafiki? Come on. Well, it is time, of course, for This Week in Disney History. Adam, are you ready for all this knowledge I'm about to drop?
I'm excited to get smarter, yes.
Here we go. 28 years ago, Adam, on November 25th, 1992, a little-known movie about a street rat and a wisecracking genie would go into wide release under the name Aladdin. The budget for the film was $28 million, and it had a $196 million opening weekend. And worldwide, the film would make over $500 million. So this independent art house of a film would go on to win the Academy Awards for Best Original Song for A Whole New World and Best Original Score given to Alan Menken. It also won Golden Globe Awards for Best Original Score and Best Original Song, also for A Whole New World. And the late, great Robin Williams also received a Golden Globe, a special Golden Globe, for his vocal work as the genie.
Game-changing vocal performance right there.
100% changed what it means to be a sidekick in a Disney movie.
You know, I recently revisited Aladdin, Patrick, and what struck me so much about it, I mean, aside from obviously Robin Williams' performance and the incredible songs, was the visual style of that film. It's very swervy, curvy, like they really embraced the curves of the design of Agrabah and like the clothing. It's all very, there's not a straight line to be found in that film, Patrick.
I absolutely know what you mean. It was a long walk around the block to get to your point, but yes.
But note that it wasn't a straight walk around the block. It was a very curvy, swervy walk.
It was a curvy, swervy walk. It's fun to watch that movie, too, because it is pretty traditional animation until they get to some parts. You can tell, like the lava in the Cave of Wonders, that they're just sort of dipping their toes into digital animation, and it's really stunning to watch.
Yeah, those moments really stand out when they were experimenting or even just taking that giant step forward and figuring out how they can best visually represent this very kind of adventurous moment in the film.
Exactly. So happy birthday, Aladdin.
You share a birthday week with Aladdin.
I share a lot more with the live-action Aladdin. I'll tell you what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That is your birthday wish, isn't it?
Yep, that is one of 3 birthday wishes I get after I rub that lamp.
Okie dokie.
Here we go. Moving on. 57 years ago, Adam, on November 23rd, 1963, Disneyland closed its gates for the very first time since its opening in 1955. The park closed in honor of President John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, the day prior on November 22nd, 1963. This would be the first of only 3 times the park has closed. The second was on 9/11, and of course, the third time was earlier this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wow, you really brought this podcast down.
I sure did. That's why we are not a comedy podcast, folks. If you're here for the comedy, it's not going to happen.
A triple whammy of just terrible national events.
But it's pretty historically important because, I mean, if Disney's going to close, it's going to be for a huge, huge national event.
Absolutely. Necessary closures, we understand. But wow, yeah, those are very impactful moments in our country's history.
Which is why I scoured the internet for the third moment in Disney history to be older than this so I could end on a higher note.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. We couldn't end on the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So instead we'll move on to 65 years ago. On November 24th, 1955, Disneyland debuted the Christmas at Disneyland Festival, which included the very first holiday parade for Disney. The parade was led by Walt Disney and Fess Parker acting as Davy Crockett. The parade also included high school marching bands and a nativity scene with the 3 wise men and live animals such as camels, a llama, and inexplicably an ostrich, which may have been the very first appearance of Gary the Gay Ostrich.
We have nailed it. That's when Gary first appeared to us. It was really a religious moment.
That's right. That's his gay rival into Disney history.
What the ostrich? I'm perplexed why the ostrich was visiting the little baby Jesus.
Who can say? They never asked him back because, as we know, his only tagline is, "Hey, bitch."
That's right. I think he wanted to eat that baby.
He did. He was going for the baby. It was very dingo style.
Oh, Gary. Gary
does it again. And with that, Adam, we conclude this week in Disney history.
Fantastic, as always, Patrick. Anytime you can get a Gary reference in there, please do it.
I look for it. I look for ostrich references for Disney history. There's not very many, so here we are.
And for those of you listening to this very episode and wondering right now, who the heck is Gary? That might be a very question you ask us in next week's episode when we do a Questions and Peter Pantsers feature segment.
Ooh, such a good segue.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's right. In next week's episode, we'll be answering your questions regarding what, Patrick? Disney parks, Disney travel, resorts, movies.
What shoes we wear.
What shoes we wear. We'll really answer anything. So if you have a question for us, please reach out to us on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Or you can shoot us a voice memo or an email to info@gaysdothed.com.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Well, Adam, it's time. It's time, Adam.
I know where you're going with this, and I frankly cannot believe it.
We are coming to the end of our Thanksgiving Thanks Giveaway month. We have a winner to announce, and then we have our very last Thanksgiving Thanks Giveaway prize to reveal for the year 2020.
Where did November go?
I have no idea. I swear I woke up yesterday and it was Halloween.
Exactly. And now here we are, ready to throw some gravy down our throats and move on to Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa.
You sound sad about celebrating all these things, but I understand the sorrow of leaving Thanksgiving.
I prefer a maudlin holiday, you know?
I do. I think you're referencing Maudlin Khan. Is that right?
Flames! That is such an amazing drag name, by the way. Maudlin Khan.
She only dresses in black and white.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Trademark.
It happened here. It happened here. But also about to happen here is the announcement of our winner of the Week 3 Thanksgiving Thanks Giveaway, Adam, which was, of course, a Disney holiday advent sock calendar, either for men or women, depending on who wins, with 6 doors opening to reveal a pair of socks featuring some of your favorite Disney and Pixar characters. Adam, would you like to announce the winner?
I'd love to announce the winner. Thank you for giving me this honor. The winner of the Disney Holiday Advent Sock Calendar is Drew, who you can find on Instagram at DrewbyCorruns.
I think it's Drewby Co. Runs.
You think so?
That's my guess, because I believe he's a runner.
Okay, you know, it's not a Carla Lafarga, but we'll take it, Drew.
I do enjoy the pronunciation of Corruns, though, because it sounds like you're saying corn.
And that ties us back to Thanksgiving.
It all wraps up into Thanksgiving.
But do you know what I say, Tweedles? You can really have corn any time of the year.
Corn? When did I have corn?
You made so many theater nerds so happy right now, Patrick.
You're welcome. It needs no explanation. But, Drew, you owe us an explanation. How did you get so lucky to win this Advent calendar?
So lucky. Drew will be reaching out to you to obtain your information, and congratulations, Drew.
Congratulations, Drew. So moving on, Adam, we have our final Week 4 Thanksgiving Thanks Giveaway to announce. Would you like the honor of announcing that, or shall I?
You should do it, because I had the honor of announcing the winner of last week, so you announce what we're giving away for Week 4.
Fantastic. Boy, oh boy, do we have a doozy. We are giving away the Disney Villains Light Up Holiday Sweater for adults. The woven sweater, that's right, folks, the woven sweater features Maleficent, Ursula, and the evil Queen Rebecca, flanked by the phrase, naughty list. Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, naughty.
And of course, as I said, it's a light-up holiday sweater, so flashing lights can be activated by pressing a little button inside of the sweater.
Can you imagine showing up to any holiday Zoom wearing this sweater? You will be the hit of the Zoom.
It is fantastic. I know some of our Tweedledees already have this sweater, and it is delightful, but they should still enter because they can give it away as a gift instead.
That's a great point, Patrick. Any of these giveaways could have been gifts. We know you're selfish and are going to keep them for yourself, but consider others for one moment in your life, would you, Tweedles?
I mean, just one time. Just one time. No, these sweaters are absolutely adorable. I have the Stitch sweater from, I believe, 2 years ago, and I love it. It's always a hit at holiday parties.
Did we mention it's woven? Ooh.
It is so woven.
So how can you enter to win? Let me tell you. You can follow us on Instagram at GDTD Podcast. You can like the post featuring the image of the sweater and tag a Disney-loving friend, a sweater-loving friend. If you're in the UK, a jumper-loving friend.
Good reference.
Anyone who likes a woven sweater will love this sweater. For each person you tag, you will receive an entry. The more people you tag, the more entries you receive, the better your chances to win. You can earn an additional entry by reposting our post or sharing it in your story and tagging at GDTD Podcast. We'll be accepting entries until 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time on Friday, November 27th. That's Black Friday. Although it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? I mean...
I think all the stores started their Black Friday lists like in October.
Yeah, so why did I even bring that up? Oh. The winner will be contacted via DM shortly after that and announced on our Monday, November 30th episode. This giveaway is in no way affiliated with or sponsored by Disney or Instagram, but it is affiliated with the amazing villains Maleficent, Ursula, and Evil Queen Rebecca.
It's also affiliated with looms.
I mean, woven. You're right.
That might be my favorite word, loom. I should get a loom. That's on my birthday list, everybody. Send me a loom.
That's great. Yeah, use the new Instagram shopping feature to find Patrick a loom.
I'm going to come out of pandemic with so many Afghans and sweaters. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, well, before you do that, Patrick.
Yes.
Before you dive into loomery?
Yep, that's what it's called.
We should cover some Disney news, don't you think?
Let's do that. Let's weave together some Disney news stories.
Oh my goodness.
I am on fire. I'm literally on fire right now. The candle is burning my arm.
Put it out.
Starting on January 1st, 2021, guests can once again enjoy multiple parks in one day with the Disney World Park Hopper Pass. Of course, the return of the Park Hopper Pass will look a little different than before, using health and safety considerations. As was the case before, guests must purchase the Park Hopper option with their park tickets. Annual pass holders with the Park Hopper option will automatically be included with the rollout. So this time around, guests must still make a Disney Park Pass reservation for the first park they plan to visit that day. They must also enter that park first before they can hop to another park. At this time, you will not need to make an additional park reservation for the park you choose to visit next. However, it should be noted that entrance will be based on current park capacity at that time. Also to note, the window for park hopping will be limited beginning at 2 p.m. and going through the end of each park's hours for the day. Not mentioned is whether or not you can hop to more than one additional park per day. All of this, of course, is subject to change, and it will likely evolve as the variables change in regards to travel, park capacity, and, of course, COVID-19 restrictions and mandates. Adam, how are you feeling about the return of the Park Hopper?
With the way that Walt Disney World has been handling this entire situation, it seems like it's time. It seems like they know what they're doing. There haven't been any reports of like outbreaks or anything like that from people who have been going to the parks. So I think it's time. What's going to be interesting to me, Patrick, is how the bus situation is going to kind of evolve from this, because they're going to have to start now running buses between parks, which they have not been doing up until this point.
Exactly. I imagine they'll have to engage specific buses that will be Park Hopper only buses, is my guess, which probably means a few more cast members will be coming back in the role of a bus driver. I agree with you. I think it's fine. You know what I mean? I think this is a good step in the right direction, because I don't know that it'll necessarily entice people to come to the parks or more people to come to the parks, but it'll just get the people who are there a little bit more freedom within the parks. I've been saying all along, for me, if I could wake up in Disney World, I would do that, but it's just traveling to get there that has me on edge a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are going to utilize Park Hopper once it's in effect. You know, it seems to be coming at a time where we're just going to be distributing the vaccine. So I think as spring rolls around, as we get to early summer, it's going to be more and more comfortable for people to kind of utilize all aspects of being in a Disney park.
For sure, for sure. This, if anything, just makes me a little bit more excited to get out to the parks when I'm feeling comfortable enough to do so.
Me too. We're so similar that way.
Samesies, twinsies.
Last week, the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, or the IAAP, PA, held its 2020 Expo virtually, and Chairman of Disney Parks Experiences and Products, Josh DeMauro, shared an update regarding the attractions and experiences planned for Disneyland and Walt Disney World resorts in 2021 and beyond. DeMauro gave us a first look at the loading station for the highly anticipated attraction Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure, coming to Avengers Campus at Disney's California Adventure in 2021. He also showed us a lights-on look at a portion of the track for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, slated to open in 2021 at Epcot. Serious Space Mountain vibes there, Patrick. We were also treated to test footage of the Omnicoaster storytelling ride vehicles for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Serious, not Space Mountain vibes there, Patrick, but they do look phenomenal. We also got an inside look, DeMauro serving so many looks, Patrick, at the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel at Walt Disney World, including one of the cabin rooms for the hotel, featuring a queen bed, 2 bunk bed pods for the kids, and stunning views of the galaxy and the planet Batuu below. 2 of DeMauro's most significant announcements made during his presentation include Disney's desire to bring back parks entertainment. No specifics and no timeline were offered, but we can assume that shows like Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo the Musical, Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Review, and more will be returning. DeMauro also announced that Disney was committing to more inclusion projects for Disney parks, stating, quote, "This represents transformative cultural change," end quote. As you may recall in September, although who can honestly recall September, Disney introduced inclusion as its 5th key of cast member training, adding to the 4 pre-existing keys of safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. The first project to address inclusion is the retheming of Splash Mountain to The Princess and the Frog, the development and execution of which is being sped up, according to DeMauro. But that's not all from the IAAPA Expo. As part of the Expo's virtual education conference, the IAAPA inducted Disney legend and Imagineer Tony Baxter and Fast Pass inventor Greg Hale into its Hall of Fame. The IAAPA, how many times do I have to say that, Patrick?
0 more is my hope.
Okay. That Thing's Hall of Fame awards program honors those who inspire their peers and colleagues around the world through their innovative contributions that leave a lasting impact on the global attractions industry. The award is the highest and most prestigious honor in the industry, and Walt Disney himself is among the notable prior inductees. Tony Baxter led teams that inspired guests through imaginative storytelling on a variety of revolutionary attractions and experiences, including Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Star Tours, and through the master plan development for Disneyland Paris. He was also creatively involved in several pavilions at Epcot, including Journey into the Imagination, and oversaw Indiana Jones' Adventure at Disneyland. Greg Hale is a prolific inventor, and his name is on more than 80 patents worldwide, including the innovative Disney Fast Pass service. He also developed designs and devices that have helped improve attraction accessibility for people with disabilities, including assistive captioning technology seen today in Disney parks around the globe. So, Patrick, these are 2 incredibly deserving recipients of the I'm going to say it one more time, Patrick, the IAAPA's recognition. And of all those announcements, Patrick, all those updates that DeMauro stated during his presentation, which one has you most excited?
Ooh, good question. I think I'm most excited for the hotel, the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel.
Oh my, Mr. Moneybags, you checking in anytime soon?
I already live there. That's where I'm reporting from right now, actually.
What?
There's just enough room for myself, Poe, and Finn in one of those rooms.
Oh.
In celebration of the upcoming December 25th release of Soul on Disney+, Disney and Pixar have collaborated with Hue Unlimited, an award-winning multicultural brand-building company, to curate a collection of wearable art pieces inspired by the film. Hue Unlimited tapped into its community incubator of cultural creatives, Tonal, to select 4 emerging Black artists to lead the creative direction and produce original art for this collection. The 4 emerging artists are B. Harris, a visual artist and activist focused on reflecting the multifaceted aspects of the Black diaspora, social movements, and community through art. Bianca Pastel, a pop artist known for recreating nostalgic moments and leaders in Black culture through overexpressive imagery and pastel elements. Arrington Porter, an eclectic musician and painter visualizing the richness of Black culture, music, film, and people with celestial exaggeration, and Corey Van Loo, a New Age artist known to reimagine real-world elements of the Black experience into unique, multi-dimensional art. Each artist used their unique perspectives as diverse creatives to capture their interpretation of the film. A quote from founder and creative director of Hue Unlimited, Michael Watson II, "As part of the next generation of creatives, we deeply understand that authenticity is incredibly important to audiences, so being able to curate a collection of products that represents Black voices overall is a dream come true." Products available include t-shirts, hoodies, blankets, pop sockets, phone cases, and tumblers, among many others. The entire collection is available now online at the Pixar Soul Shop on Amazon.
I love the colors in the collection that they've put together.
The entire collection is absolutely beautiful. There are 4 main images that they're using that have been created, and they're stunning to look at.
And it's exciting to see this kind of celebration for merchandise, essentially, but is being promoted in a larger sense, right? Like, this is more of a meaningful collaboration that's been done to help promote the film.
Absolutely. And it's a lot more accessible by putting it on Amazon as well. So more people are likely to see it there.
They are. I'm thinking holiday gifts. Are you thinking holiday gifts?
Those hoodies look super comfortable, and I want one immediately. They are really, really beautiful. So buy one for me, Adam.
I know it's your birthday week, but you're being very demanding in what gifts I get for you.
What's your question?
The Themed Entertainment Association, or the TEA, here we go again, Patrick, honored 2 of Disney's newest attractions with Thea Awards for Outstanding Achievement: Star Wars Rise of the Resistance at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World Resorts, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Walt Disney World Resort. The Thea Awards are regarded by many as one of the top awards given in the themed entertainment industry. Additionally, Bob Weiss received the Buzz Price Thea Award, recognizing a lifetime of distinguished achievements. Bob serves as president of Walt Disney Imagineering, but he started his career at Walt Disney Imagineering working on Disney's first international theme park, Tokyo Disneyland. He later had senior creative roles in designing Disney MGM Studios, Tokyo's second Disney theme park, Tokyo Disney Sea, and the multi-year transformation of Disney California Adventure, including Buena Vista Street and Cars Land. He was also the top creative executive for Shanghai Disney Resort before becoming president of Walt Disney Imagineering in 2016. Bob has been a champion of diverse talent and perspectives coming together to create experiences that guests from all over the world can enjoy. In addition to his Disney work, Bob has developed projects for several notable museums, has been an advisor to the Smithsonian, and has served on the board of trustees for the National Museum of the American Indian. He is also a member of the advisory committee of the Walt Disney Family Museum. More awards for Disney, Patrick.
So much recognition.
Where's our award?
We have to do something notable first to get an award.
Do we want to do that?
No, it's a lot of work.
I'm so glad we're on the same page about this.
We are the cranberry sauce of Disney. Adam, a Disney invasion is coming our way. 1, if by land, 2, if by Seacrest. That's right, Ryan Seacrest will be hosting the 3rd Disney Sing-Along Special, this time with a holiday theme. On November 30th, someone's favorite celebrities will celebrate Christmas with the Disney Holiday Sing-Along.
Who might they be? Who might these celebrities be?
Some are great, and some are alive. The evening's lineup includes Andrea Bocelli singing Silent Night. BTS will perform Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Michael Bublé will croon It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. Ciara will crush Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. Chloe and Halle Bailey will make you cry with Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Derek Huff and Haley Erbert will make you question reality with Hey Santa and Jingle Bells. Julianne Hough will wear 87 costumes with Whistle While You Work. Not sure how that's Christmas related. Also, Let It Snow.
What?
Yep. Oh, it gets better, Adam. It gets better. Speaking of Adams, Adam Lambert will scream, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Leslie Odom Jr. will steal the night with What's This? Katy Perry will convince you that you're on drugs with I'll Be Home for Christmas and Cozy Little Christmas. Pink will swing from the rafters with the Christmas song, and Kerry Washington will remind you that she can sing too with Joy to the World.
I had no idea. Kerry Washington, a singer.
Turns out. There will also be special performances from Di Cappella and the touring company of Frozen, along with the Broadway casts of Aladdin and The Lion King. The Disney Holiday Sing-Along will raise awareness for their Feed the Love campaign in partnership with Feeding America. The special will air on Monday, November 30th at 7 Central on ABC.
Will you be tuning in?
Why not? I don't have anything else to do.
That could be their tagline for this special. Why not? You have nothing else to do.
That's 100% what it is. That, and let's see what Katy Perry does this time.
Last Friday, Imagineering Portfolio Executive for Walt Disney World Resort Zach Ridley and Melissa Valaquette, Vice President of Epcot, made some exciting announcements during the D23 Fantastic Worlds Celebration presentation entitled Epcot, the Magic of Possibility. First up, Melissa Valaquette stated that the 5 large barge, that will be used as part of Harmonious, the new nighttime spectacular slated to premiere in Epcot in 2021, will be used as daytime show element fountains in World Showcase Lagoon. Zach Ridley went on to note that they are testing one of the barges out on the lagoon very soon, and they hope that these show elements will become a defining feature of Epcot, offering an ambient daytime look. I love that idea, a giant fountain in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon during the daytime.
For sure, I've seen pictures and it looks glorious.
Second, Ridley confirmed that the lights we saw on the exterior of Spaceship Earth as part of the concept art revealed during the 2019 D23 Expo will be implemented as part of the attraction's overhaul. Ridley stated that an enhanced lighting package will be installed for the exterior of Spaceship Earth with custom programming that connects Epcot's icon to its surroundings, encapsulates the park's transformation, and brings unique evening moments to Epcot guests. Ridley also noted that the lucite fountain currently being installed in front of Spaceship Earth will also have a new lighting package with a beam of light shining from the middle of its pylons. The Spaceship Earth reimagining was scheduled to begin on May 26th, but was delayed indefinitely due to the COVID-19 shutdown. No word on when the attraction's overhaul will commence. You can watch the D23 presentation, Epcot, the Magic of Possibility, by visiting d23.com. You know, Patrick, it feels like it's been years and years and years since we saw those first renderings, those first concept art images for what the new Epcot would kind of look like. I was really reminded and re-excited again watching this presentation about the possibility of how beautiful, in particular, the current future world will look once all this work is done.
Absolutely. Yeah. All the Imagineers are super excited about this, and all of the Epcot fans are super excited about it as well. Me included. You know, I really love an enhanced package.
As I was taking notes for this story, Patrick, I thought to myself, Patrick is going to comment on the enhanced package portion.
I mean, it's the elephant in the room. You know, you got to address it.
Elephant? That seems kind of big.
Well, I only address elephants in rooms. You know, if it's an enhanced package, go big or go home. You know what I'm saying?
Patrick, last Thursday, November 19th, was a very big day for Disneyland Resort. And do you know why?
I don't, Adam. Would you please tell me? I don't know anything about Disney.
Last Thursday was the reopening of Buena Vista Street.
That's right. It was the day that Disneyland told everyone, we're not opening, but we're not opening.
Very that, Patrick. Disney California Adventure decided to reopen or not reopen the Buena Vista Street area of the park as an expansion of the downtown Disney district.
That's true, and we just happen to know someone who made his way over to get a peek at the brand new opening.
Our man on the street, Chris.
That's right. He's like Kermit the Frog on Sesame Street.
Just like Kermit the Frog. Chris from Wishful Thinking, who has been on this podcast several times, attended the reopening or opening or not opening of Buena Vista Street in Disney California Adventure, and he has some things to say.
He has some things to say, and we have some things to say about Chris, don't we?
We sure do. For those of you who don't know, Chris is a full-time authorized travel agent specializing in Disney destinations, including Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, Tokyo Disney Resort, Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and Aulani, a Disney resort and spa in Hawaii.
And you can find him online by going to wishful-thinking.com. And he's also on Instagram and Twitter at wishful_THNKNG. So the word thinking with no eyes.
Chris was nice enough to send us his update, his thoughts, his feelings, really everything.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
It sure is. So let's hop right into it. Here is Chris from Wishful Thinking.
Hello from Anaheim, California. I don't think I've ever told you guys this, but I was born here, and I'm currently staying at a place right within walking distance of Disneyland. So I've been going into downtown Disney for each of the last few days, learning as much as I can. Can't wait to tell you a little bit about what I'm seeing. So if anyone is unfamiliar, downtown Disney is essentially a long thoroughfare that connects to the entry plazas for Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. It's a shopping and dining district, and it's about a third of the size of Disney Springs. There are 6 stores that are dedicated to Disney merchandise, like the World of Disney. There's a dress shop. There's a shop devoted to Star Wars merchandise. There's a confectionery. And then there's a collection of smaller stores, 4 or 5 sit-down restaurants. There's an Earl of Sandwich. There's 2 Starbuckses. It's essentially the place that almost all guests walk through on their way to visit the theme parks. Beyond that, they've just opened a portion of Disney California Adventure. Buena Vista Street inside is kind of like Hollywood Boulevard, if you've ever been to Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's got one big interconnected store on the left. There's another big interconnected store on the right. And then at the end of the street is Carthay Circle Restaurant, which really is some of the best food in either of the Disneyland parks. So let me start with the good parts. To be honest, it's really nice just to be within that Disney atmosphere. There's music in the air. Everything's all decorated for the holidays. If you're really into Disney merchandise, or especially if you like to decorate for the holidays with Disney stuff, maybe you might want to do some holiday shopping. There's a lot of options there. There's also a lot of people that are showing up who are just decked out for the holidays in their Disney attire. You've got people in their mini ears. You're seeing lots of gay couples holding hands, lesbian couples. Beyond that, the weather lately has just been gorgeous. So it's a terrific place just to sit outside, enjoy an afternoon drink, or have a great meal and just soak up that atmosphere. And if I'm going to be honest, one of the best things about it is that it is not crowded inside. Disney's doing a really good job of minimizing the attendance within every space so that it never feels crowded when you're there. And that brings me to the not so fun parts, because the reality is that thousands of Southern Californians are Disney fans, and many people want to take advantage of that atmosphere. But because Disney's enforcing these restrictions, there are long waits for just about everything, especially on weekday afternoons, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. So by 11 a.m. on most weekends, there's a wait just to even get into downtown Disney. Once you've gotten in, there's an additional wait to get onto Buena Vista Street within Disney California Adventure. Beyond that, there's additional waits at every single Disney store, including the stores along Buena Vista Street. And those lines can stretch as long as 30, 40, 50 minutes. Now, when lines do get too long, Disney gives you the chance to use your phone to sign up for a virtual wait list. So that's applicable both for Buena Vista Street and every one of the Disney stores. But from the time that you enter your phone number until you get a return text message, sometimes it can be as long as an additional 1, 2 hour, even 2.5 hours sometimes. As you and a lot of your listeners know, I just spent the last few months in Orlando. And so if I'm going to make a comparison, it's kind of like waiting in a long queue in Walt Disney World, but instead of getting to go on a ride at the end of that wait, you're just going to get to do some Disney shopping. But if you would really like to go, here are my main tips on how to have a better experience there. First off, get there early. They've been holding off parking at the Simba lot until a little bit before opening, but you can pay to park at the Anaheim Hotel or over along the Garden Walk area, and then you can use the pedestrian entrance on Harbor Boulevard. Second tip, book an advanced dining reservation for one of the sit-down restaurants. You're probably going to need something to do anyway while you're waiting out your wait lists. And if there's a wait to just get into downtown Disney, you can show your reservation confirmation to anyone who works in guest services, and they'll give you some priority entry. Okay, third tip, and this is a big one. Most guests who visit downtown Disney and who sign up for those virtual wait lists don't realize that you don't have to hold up your phone and scan a QR code in order to add your name. You just need the link. Where can you get those links? From me. If you go to my website, which is wishful-thinking.com, and sign up for our free newsletter, we will send you all of the links so you can add your name when you're on your way to downtown Disney. Now, I do have to give you a heads up. There's at least 2 of those links that will only work if you're geolocated within downtown Disney, but not all of them. So again, go to wishful-thinking.com, sign up for our free newsletter, and I can help you out. So ultimately, here's the question. Is it worth it? I would say if you're already in the Los Angeles area, if you really just want some Disney nostalgia, I think it's probably worthwhile to come and spend a few hours here. Come January, my guess is that it's going to be pretty dead. And those independent shops, and especially those restaurants, they're going to need some customers. So although there's no real comparison between what's happening here versus what's happening in Orlando or the other Disney parks around the world, if you're a California local, if you're already in Southern California, and if you're a big Disney fan, I think it's worth it just to kind of go and soak up that atmosphere and get some Disney magic. I hope you guys have a terrific Thanksgiving. Same to all your listeners out there. Before I go, I do have to mention, I did notice that they're doing a buy one, get one free at the confectionery for all the candy products. So if you guys can keep yourself off of Santa's naughty list, you just might end up with some Disney treats stuffed inside your stockings.
As we mentioned at the top of the episode, Patrick, this week is Thanksgiving, and we have, despite everything that's happened this year, so much to be thankful for, and specifically with the podcast, right?
Sure, why not?
We've had some really fantastic guests on in the past, people who have been fascinating interviews and have such a connection to Disney. If not first person, have kind of an adjacent connection. They're Disney adjacent and have really entertained our Tweedles with their passion for Disney and Disney culture.
That's right. We've had a spectrum of Disney guests on the pod.
Well, for this episode, we have another fantastic guest, another fantastic interview to bring you. For our feature segment this week, we're talking with Mike Van Eaton of Van Eaton Galleries. We've talked about him on the podcast before because Van Eaton Galleries frequently hosts some fantastic Disneyana-themed auctions.
That's right. We generally talk about them in our news segments, but we are bringing the news to our main segment because we have, as you said, Mike Van Eaton to talk all about the newest Van Eaton Disney collection, The Man, the Studio, and the Parks.
That auction is taking place Saturday, December 5th. Saturday, December 5th. There's something with that date, Patrick.
It's not my birthday, so I don't care quite as much about it. What could it be?
Sure. It's actually Walt Disney's birthday.
Yes, of course. The second most significant birthday of the year.
So for those that don't know, Van Eaton Galleries is located in Sherman Oaks, California, and they represent the single largest selection of works from the earliest days of animation right up to the present day, as well as contemporary fine art. For over 20 years, the gallery has been located in the heart of the animation and entertainment industry and is a central meeting place for a vibrant community of animation professionals and collectors.
A bucket list place for somebody who is a merch queen, wouldn't you say, Adam?
A merch queen, a Disney history queen, all of those queens.
Exactly. Some day. But I don't know if luckily is the right word. Due to the pandemic, we can all take part in the auction now online this December 5th.
I got my eye on a couple things, Patrick.
I've got some Donald Duck cells that I'm interested in.
Animation cells, or are we talking DNA here?
His DNA, some Donald Duck saliva.
It just goes to show Van Eaton Galleries will auction off anything.
It's true. It's absolutely true. We talk a little bit about it during the interview, but the collection this time around is vast. It's amazing. And there's so many pieces from a wide assortment of price points.
Absolutely. And really a particular note and kind of the core of the auction are some incredible items that are tied directly to Walt Disney himself.
So before we get into the interview, we should tell people where they can find the auction and where they can find Van Eaton Galleries in general online. You should go visit vegalleries.com. There you'll have access to this auction and any future auction that they will have.
You can also find Van Eaton Galleries on Facebook and Twitter at VE Galleries, and you can find them on Instagram at VE Galleries, so a little bit different there.
Just a little different. Watch your typing. Lastly, before we get into the interview, we should note that it sounds like I simply walked away from the interview about 3/4 of the way through. But in fact, we were just having some tech issues today, so we did lose my audio. But luckily, Adam is a professional and trotted on without me. He left me behind, folks.
It was a dream come true moment. Patrick couldn't speak.
I could hear Adam, I could not hear Mike, and no one could hear me. So it's all fine. That's the way Adam plans it.
You were missed. You were missed, Patrick.
I heard what you were talking about. I could hear you, Adam. Don't fool anyone. We're going to edit that part out, apparently. Well, without further ado, let's get into our delightful interview with Mike Van Eaton of Van Eaton Galleries.
Mike, welcome to Gaze Do the D.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, absolutely. You know, Patrick and I are both huge Disney fans, obviously, but we are also both huge Disney history fans. So we're excited to have you on the podcast to talk not only about the upcoming auction that you have, but also to get a little bit more information about you and Van Eaton Galleries. And let's start right there. You know, when we have a guest on the podcast, we love to find out more about their history with Disney, and we call it their Disstory. So what is your connection to Disney? Did you go to Disneyland or the Disney parks a lot as a kid, or were you a fan of the movies?
Well, you know, I think it probably started with the Wonderful World of Color back in the late 60s. You know, I used to watch that on TV. I'm from the East Coast, so we didn't really get a chance to come to Disneyland. But once every 4 years, I would tell you, we would come out here to visit my grandparents, and they lived in Oxnard, and they would take us to Disneyland every trip that we came out. And that was a really big deal. In fact, the first trip I remember was actually 1968 or 69. New Orleans Square had just opened, and I got to ride Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was pretty amazing. You know, I was very small at that time, but it was something I really remember. And so that's where it started. And then Wonderful World of Color, and of course the Disneyland movies, all of them, you know, had a big effect on me. And then moving to LA and being close to Disneyland, well, as you may know, that makes all the difference in the world.
It sure does. It sure does. I imagine you continue to be a Disney fan today.
Absolutely. I'm a big, you know, collector of the memorabilia, and just love putting these auctions together, and I go to the park whenever I can.
Well, we're super excited to talk all about the collection that you and the company do. Can you tell us a little bit more about Van Eaton Galleries, how it started, and what the gallery specializes in?
Well, it started as and still is an animation art gallery with a focus on Disney, but we carry artwork from all the studios and sort of try to show the history of animation from beginnings up till now. And because Disney animation sort of falls into the same collectibles or the same people who collect Disneyland memorabilia. We started collecting a lot of that, and those people also like movie memorabilia, so we started collecting a lot of that, and it's just sort of expanded and expanded. And about 5 years ago, we started adding in these Disney focused auctions, which we do anywhere from 2 to 4 a year, and this auction that's coming up is exactly what we do. It's sort of we try to tell a story about something, and in this case, it's about Walt Disney, and we put together some amazing memorabilia.
So you just mentioned that you also are a collector outside of the business. How does that work? Are you like one for me, one for the business?
Yeah, I think there's a line between collector and hoarder. I'm not sure which side I'm on, but I will tell you this: that I have closets full of stuff. And when stuff comes in, I do have to take a hard look at it. And there's a business side and there's a personal side, and I try to keep them separate, but it's very, very hard.
Is there a particular item that you as a collector are always kind of on the hunt for? I guess what I'm asking is, are there areas of Disney collectibles that specifically speak to you?
No, I can't say there's a specific area, but pieces come up that I seem to have an emotional attachment to as soon as I see them, or just make me smile. And that's what I want around me. So that's what I collect. So it becomes it's nothing specific. It's a wide range, but there's some meaning to it that even I don't know sometimes. It really makes me want to keep it with me and hide it in my closet somewhere. So.
Now, these auctions are pretty popular and heavily attended and raise huge amounts of money. What do you think it is about Disneyana that's so popular with aggressive collectors?
Well, I think a couple things. I think one great thing about Disney in general is that it crosses over from generation to generation. I watched Disney movies when I was a kid. I showed my kid Disney movies. She'll show her kids Disney movies. It just keeps going like that. So there's a whole generation just generation after generation of people that have a love for the films or the park or anything with Disney. It's a very strong collectible in that sense. We just happen to find a nice niche with more specific, Disney history and Disneyland and Disneyland history, which also has a pretty cross-generational following. So it's an unusual collectible in the fact that everybody seems to have a connection to it in one way or another, unlike, say, baseball cards or Beanie Babies or something that only one generation collects and then sort of gets forgotten along the way.
Yeah, I was kind of working my way through the catalog for the upcoming auction, and there were so many items from decades ago, that really spoke to me, and for some reason kind of ignited a little spark in me that had some kind of emotional reaction to it. I was delighted to see it, or I felt a little kind of melancholy to see it. It's fascinating how things that we've never seen before in our life, just because of their association with Disney, speak to us.
Absolutely. I agree completely. It's a very interesting phenomenon, and I'm caught up in it just like you.
So let's turn to the upcoming auction. It's called Walt Disney, the Man, the Studio, and the Parks. How are items acquired for an auction like this?
The items come first for us, and the auctions come later. We don't really project too many auctions out into the future like a lot of companies do, because we want to see what appears, and it just so happened we got approached for this auction. We got approached a few months ago by Phil Sears, who is an autograph expert and collector in Southern California, and he had a few pieces that I just thought were historically really amazing and worthwhile. And Disney's birthday was coming up, and I said, this would be a really cool auction to do around Disney's birthday. So once we acquired those key pieces, we just sort of built the auction off of that. With stuff we already had on consignment. I reached out to many people who consign with us and said, "Yeah, do you have anything that relates to this, or do you have some toys that relate to this?" And that's how we built this auction.
I imagine then that there are multiple items that you have still that aren't going to make this auction. How do you make that decision of what goes into a particularly themed auction and what you might hold for a different day?
That's always tough. because we it is, but it's also tough for two things. We have consigners, who want to sell their stuff and of course want to get it into an auction. But a lot of times we say, well, this piece fits this Disney studio auction better than it fits this Disneyland auction that we want to do in the future better. And so we sort of move things around like that to sort of stay with the themes, and we try to place things in an auction where we believe they'll get the most attention and hopefully the most bids. So some stuff, we have a lot of Disneyland stuff here for some future auction that we'll put together that I think is really cool and really exciting. It just didn't quite fit into the theme of this particular auction.
You talked about Phil Sears and how he kind of incited the theme for this auction. Do you just have like a vast network of collectors that that you're constantly going to pull pieces from and to kind of get inventory for auctions?
Well, we do in a way. We have them there. I usually use them more to fill a hole in an auction. Like if I say, boy, this auction wouldn't be complete unless we have a cell of Donald Duck in it. And then I'll go find a collector who has a cell of Donald Duck. What makes these auctions exciting for me, just like Phil Sears, is just people come out of the blue and say, hey, I have this. And I go, oh, my God, if you have that, well, then I have something to work with. And in this case, Phil, I didn't reach out to him. He just happened to call me out of the blue and say, hey, I'm thinking about selling these pieces in an auction. And I said, oh, well, I could do something with that. And that's sort of what builds these auctions, is just random people calling and saying stuff. And that's actually what's exciting, is when I hear somebody from especially out of state call and say, I found this piece that my grandfather had, and is it valuable? And I see it and go, oh my God. Our last auction, lady out of the blue called with a tombstone from the graveyard at the Haunted Mansion, the outdoor graveyard, that had been in her family for 40, 50 years, that they had been using as a Halloween decoration. And she just happened to call to see if it was worth anything. I said, oh my God, you've got something really cool there. So she sent it to me, and it was one of the key pieces in that particular auction. It worked out really good. And those things seem to continue to happen. So knock on wood, they still will.
It must be like Christmas Day every morning in your house when you get those calls.
It's amazing. I get all excited. Sometimes I get to jump on an airplane and run out to look at stuff. And sort of like treasure hunting. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So for this specific auction, the Man, the Studio, and the Parks, are there any items that are of particular interest to you, or anything that you think will be very attractive to some collectors?
Everything's attractive to me. The other problem with these auctions is I put in the stuff I like the most, obviously, and so I'm looking through it going, oh, I can't believe somebody's going to get that, not me. But I'm attracted to everything across the board. Lately, I've been really into ceramics and the older historical pieces, and I've always been into animation art, and of course Disneyland. And there's just a little bit of everything in this auction. I really like the 20,000 League stuff in this auction, and there's just fun stuff. It's just really, really fun stuff, and it comes from a really great variety of collectors who really love Disney, and that makes me feel good, to see that, that kind of stuff come up too. There's a pocket knife in here, I think, that a 13-year-old girl found in a flea market in North Carolina, which I thought was really cool. And she wrote me and said, I found this pocket knife. I paid 50 cents for it. And she put it in the auction, and, it's going to go for a few $100, and she's going to be thrilled. Just little things like that make me really happy. And there's just a lot of really good stories and really neat stuff in this auction.
It's nice to know that next generation is on the lookout for these items and realizes
it is. I was really happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they realize that they have value and worth, and that even though the person may not want it themselves, they understand that there are collectors out there who would really treasure these items.
Yeah, and they share their finds, which is what most collectors do. I think that's a really great thing about the collectors, is they like to share what they find. So.
Can I ask you about the authentication process? Because like if someone calls you and says, I have a tombstone from the outside of the Haunted Mansion, how does that work? Do you have to kind of dig into it to find out if it's actually an item from the Haunted Mansion?
We do. The first thing we do is, or first thing I do is I ask, how did you get it? What's the story behind it? Which is important for a couple reasons. If it's a good story, I believe it actually adds value to the piece, and but so we find out that history and that connection that this person may have to the piece, and that helps a lot as far as figuring out the authenticity. And then, of course, we look at the piece we try to find photos, and we have an archive of photos that we can go through, especially from Disneyland and such, that and online there's a million photos from Disneyland, and we look for that piece in those photos, and we try to match it up exactly, and we can look at the materials, and we have a few Imagineers that are still around that'll help us if we get stuck. We can call them up and say, "What do you think of this? Is this what you would have done?" And we look for a logical explanation of the piece, or a logical explanation if there is something about the piece that doesn't make sense. And it's just a process. It's not super difficult, and the more of this stuff we see, the more experience we get with it, and we're able to spot the pieces that really aren't quite right.
Interesting. So when you sort of put on your Indiana Jones hat, are there some incredibly rare or Disney holy grails that you're currently on the hunt for, or that you hope to obtain for an upcoming auction?
There's nothing that I would call a holy grail. Somebody called, in fact, I think it's in this auction. This is going to sound weird, but somebody called out of the blue and said, I have the furniture that was on the stage during Carousel of Progress. I said, you're kidding me. I mean, to me, that was amazing that the stuff was still around and still existed, so I grabbed that. There's no holy grail per se. It's just, I think as this collectible market, especially for Disneyland, gets more popular, I think things are getting a little harder to find that have a lot of meaning or make a lot of sense. So I think it's just going to get tougher to start to dig this stuff up. But again, I keep my fingers crossed that the supply keeps coming in, and that people and collectors are diversifying their collection, as Phil Sears is doing here, and that will help. But no holy grail that I can think of. I just want the next surprise to be as good as all the other surprises. So that's it.
Kind of in that same vein, though, are there specific types of Disney artifacts, like artifacts that are tied to attractions that are always very popular when they come up for auction?
Always Pirates of the Caribbean, always Haunted Mansion, Enchanted Tiki Room. They seem to have a gigantic following. I think you'll see the Disneyland Hotel being very, very popular. I think a lot of people had experiences through the Disneyland Hotel with Disneyland that make a difference. And as the parks grow older, we're starting to see a lot of interest in Tokyo Disneyland and Euro Disneyland. So I think those are whole new areas of collecting that'll start to open up as these parks age. And Walt Disney World, of course, is very hot right now. When I started this, people would bring me Walt Disney World stuff, and I'd say, "Oh no, that park's too new. I don't want anything from that park." But then it hit me that park's not that new anymore, and there's a whole generation of people who grew up at that park. So that's another really, really big collectible right now.
Yeah, I imagine so. Now, you may not be able to answer this, but we're going to go ahead and ask it anyways. Has the Disney company ever purchased an item that's of historical significance to them at one of your auctions?
You're right. I can't answer that. I can't answer. I will say, the hope for this stuff is that it goes to a good home, and it goes to a home that will share it with the rest of the world, and that it won't just disappear into a basement somewhere. So we have a lot of great collectors and a lot of great bidders across the board out there, and all we hope is this stuff gets treasured and passed on. So that's what we hope for.
When you look at the number of Disney auctions you've held so far, is there an item that you obtained that has really stuck with you as a truly special item that you just can't believe you got, or that really kind of shook you that you were able to put up for auction?
There was a map, a Herb Ryman map that we got several years ago. That was the pitch map used when Roy Disney went to New York to try to get financing for the park. It was a big trifold map. It's a famous image. The original pencil of that map is in the archive, and they made brown lines, and they would hand color them and put them into prospectus that they put out. But this one was a giant, like 4-foot by 3-foot trifold map that would have been put on an easel when Roy was explaining the park to potential investors. And it was an amazing piece, absolutely amazing piece, and something we'll never see again that I was really sad to see go, but at the same time I was happy I got. And I still look at the piece, I go back and look at it, just an incredible piece of history. We got it from the guy who actually got it from Walt Disney, who had an amazing story of how he got it. what it meant to him, and we were lucky enough to be able to go videotape him and record him talking about that. He literally died a month after the auction, so he got to see it get passed on. He was very happy, and just it was an amazing piece. It really moved me, so I was happy we had a chance to sell that.
Wow, that is an incredible journey. A lot of these items, I would even say all of these items, I imagine has an emotional attachment to people. And my hunch is that the pandemic has maybe created more of an emotional attachment to people since they can't go to the parks right now. Have you found a difference in how people are hunting for items during this pandemic?
Yeah, I think your hunch is correct. I think actually I think right now in this day and age, we're just hunting for good news or a good feeling. And I think that's what this stuff brings to people, a little bit of a nostalgia to the past, a good feeling, a happy memory. And I think that's what a lot of people are hunting for right now. And we're also all cooped up at home for the most part. So, being on the internet, we're seeing a lot more activity on our website and, these online auctions and stuff.
So Patrick and I think it's fair to say, Patrick, although you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, have never bid in an auction before. Have you, Patrick?
I haven't.
Okay, so we're novices, and I have to say it's a little intimidating to kind of jump into that arena. For someone who might be new to this experience, can you offer some advice not only on the auction process and what that might look like online, but also just collecting in general?
Sure. I'll tell you, in collecting in general, don't get so married to a piece or so invested in a piece that you can't let it go. And I talk to you from experience with that. It's very easy to say, oh my God, I may never see another piece like this ever. But the truth of the matter is, with most pieces, something similar will come up at some point in time. So set yourself a budget. Don't go over that budget. Stay reasonable. I have to tell you from my own auction experience that I hate losing. So what happens when I bid in these auctions is I may say, I'm only going to spend $100 on that piece. But then when the bid is $110, I go, well, it's only $20 more. Then there's another bid, oh, it's only $40 more. And it just keeps going up, and then it becomes a competition. And that's what you want to be wary of with an auction, is you don't want to get caught up in the competition part of it. So set yourself a budget. Be willing to lose the piece if it gets above your budget, and then you'll be fine. It's actually, I think bidding in auctions is a lot of fun. And with this particular auction, there's several ways to bid. Online is I think a way for a more experienced auction person, because you have to think quick and move fast. We also offer phone bidding, where you're on the phone with one of our representatives in the room during the auction, and I actually like that much better. That person can help you along with the bidding, tell you where the bidding is, and help you to make a decision that whether to bid or not in a timely manner. And so I prefer that over the internet. Or you can just, if you really want to stay within budget, you send in what are called absentee bids. Your maximum bid. Say there's a piece that's starting at $100 and you may want to go to $500, so you put in $500, and the bidding starts at $100, and the auctioneer bids on your behalf up to that $500, and you may lose it if it goes over that. But again, you stay within your budget, and that's what's really important here. It's no fun to buy a piece that you can't afford. You'll end up regretting it later. So you want to, again, know your limits and buy accordingly, and that's it. These auctions are a lot of fun, and they're very exciting. They're more fun in person. Unfortunately, we can't do that now, but I would tell you that they're still a lot of fun and worthwhile.
That's some excellent advice. And I just want everybody to know that they should absolutely head over to vegalleries.com and look at the catalog, because there are some very affordable items in this auction. I was surprised at how affordable the starting bid is, at least on some of these items. And, it's a great kind of jumping in point. If there's something that really speaks to you, why not take a chance on it and let this be your first opportunity in owning something that has some significance in Disney history?
Yeah, I agree with that. And we purposely try to put in these auctions a variety of items so that there is something that can be purchased by anybody, the novice collector to the experienced collector, those on a budget, those who aren't on a budget. We want everybody to have a chance, and collecting should be a community thing, not based on your finances or on anything else. It should be fun for everybody, and that's why this auction isn't just full of $10,000 items.
So are you now planning the next auction? Are you looking out into the future and planning the next Disney auction?
We are planning what we call a popular culture auction, which expands on this universe a little bit, gets into some non-Disney movies and memorabilia, but has a heavy Disney tilt to it. More of live action movies, props, and still Disneyland. And then following that, we're actually doing something that's completely out of our wheelhouse. It's a guitar auction for a charity called Music Rising, which benefits musicians that are in financial trouble during this whole COVID situation. And we're real excited about that. I'm an ex-musician, so I really like seeing this stuff and meeting the people who are donating. And then after that, we're hoping to do another pure Disneyland dedicated auction. And so all those are being built at the same time. It's just a matter of what comes in and where we can place it.
Oh, we'll be on the lookout for those. We've talked about your previous Disney auctions on the podcast, and they've always generated a lot of interest, and people I know are really curious about the process and about collecting. Before we let you go, can you just kind of address what it feels like during a normal auction, a non-pandemic auction? Is it an emotional experience for you to stand there and watch these items being handed off to new collectors?
For me, it definitely is, especially if I'm invested in the consignor themselves. If I know the consignor, if I know the story behind the piece, like that old map, for instance, we had another lady who had another plot plan, an early plot plan from Disney that we auctioned years ago, who found it in her attic in her deceased husband's effects and put it on Craigslist for, I want to say, $500 or something. And eventually, after getting no takers, brought it to us, and it sold for $25,000. This lady was literally crying in the audience. It was quite an emotional time. But yeah, I do get invested in these. Again, it's all about seeing these pieces go to people who love it, and seeing the people who love these pieces let them go and release them. It can be can be quite emotional.
Well, Mike, we just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing the work you do, but also being a source for all of us fans who are so invested in Disney history, giving us an opportunity not only to see these very rare items, but also potentially have the opportunity to own these items.
Well, my pleasure always. And our door is always open. Not quite really, but you know what I'm saying. Hopefully it will be soon, but we're always here, always happy to answer questions. Our phones work, our email works. So definitely, if anybody has any questions or any comments or needs any help with anything, we'd love to hear from them.
Thank you again, and we wish you the best of luck with the upcoming auction, Walt Disney, the Man, the Studio, and the Parks, on Walt Disney's birthday of all days, Saturday, December 5th, 2020.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
Things are getting wild here. My audio's back. What's going to happen next? Who can say?
Do you feel connected once again?
I feel electronically and emotionally connected.
That's all I wanted to hear.
That's all we need. That's all we need. But I do, in fact, know what is going to happen next, Adam, and that is a Quick D.
It's already time for Quick D. Where has this episode gone?
It's gone away from us, Adam. It's gotten away from us.
Some might call it a runaway railway.
Some might call it a train wreck. But here we go. For those who don't know, Quick D is where Adam and I ask each other a question we have not been privy to prior to recording, and we answer off the cuff. Do you think people recite that along with us at home?
I fully believe that frequent listeners recite that word for word along with the introduction to each episode, yes.
We should mix it up once in a while and be like, Quick D is where Adam and I wrap each other in bubble tape and roll down a hill.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Also, I called it bubble tape instead of bubble wrap. Oh, the pandemic, am I right?
It's got you all kooky in the brain when it comes to packing materials.
I'm kooky in the brain. Speaking of which, Adam, shall I ask you a question first, or would you like to ask me a question first?
You know what? You ask me your question first.
Great. Here we go. Adam, as you know, we talked all about the quote-unquote celebrities that will be participating in the Disney Holiday Sing-Along. It is quite the lineup, and I have it on good authority that you are on standby should someone's camera not work. Adam, what have you prepared as a backup plan to be showcased on ABC's The Disney Holiday Sing-Along?
This is truly my moment to shine.
It might be. Should Katy Perry fall into a coma, you're up to bat.
If that happens, I just want the world to be prepared for the amazing spectacle they're going to witness, because when people think, oh, we can't see Katy Perry, they should immediately think, oh, we get to see Adam Hummel.
Yes, absolutely. There is no preparation in the world that could, well, prepare us, I guess.
No preparation H out there could prepare you all.
Nope, it's all ran out. It's people are stocking up on it.
That's right. That's right. But I really appreciate your question, Patrick, because I have prepared quite the entertainment package, I guess I would call it. It's not just a song. There's a lot going on.
Excellent. Tell us all about it.
All right. Well, depending on the celebrity who isn't available to perform, it is a tribute, in fact, to their career. So there's a lot of iterations here, Patrick. You know, there's a lot of ways this could go. But let's just take Katy Perry, for example. I will be performing in a full-on Mrs. Jumbo elephant costume.
Good. I was hoping that would be the case.
With the holiday twist, okay?
Uh-oh, here we go.
And I will be celebrating Katy Perry's catalog of songs. Firework.
Of course.
Only it's a Christmas version of Firework.
Obviously.
And I've changed the title to Fire Twerk.
Fire Twerk. That does speak to the holidays, for sure.
Thank you. California Girls? It's North Pole Girls.
Avi. Could I be Left Shark in your video?
You can be Left Shark. I'll allow it.
Great. Thank you so much.
Only because it's holiday, it's Left Penguin.
Oh, of course it is. Left Penguin.
Which has been maimed by a shark, so there's the connection.
Oof. That got dark very quickly.
The classic Katy Perry song, Roar, I would turn into...
Is it a word that starts with a W?
It does. I don't know if I can say it and not have to beep it out, but you all know where I'm going with that.
War is what we were thinking.
It is a tribute to the children of Sarajevo.
It's very reminiscent of that War is Over Christmas song.
It's a twist on that moment, yeah. And my big finish, obviously, will be some other Katy Perry song I have not yet mentioned. I know she has some new ones. I think there's one called Daisies, but I haven't heard it. So stay tuned, I guess. Tune in is what I should say, because you don't know where it's going to go. It could be Katy Perry. It could be Derek Huff. If Derek Huff can't perform, what am I going to do then? Dance? I guess I'm going to dance.
I can speak for all of America in that we are wishing for the health and safety of all of the performers that night, so we don't have to watch you.
That's very rude. You know, this could be my big break.
It's going to be your hip break, possibly.
My holiday hip break.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right, Patrick. Well, it's time for your quick D question. And have I got a humdinger for you, my friend? This very week, Patrick, is your 39th birthday.
How dare you? How very dare you?
We've already talked about it. People know it is your last year of your dirty 30s. Why did I say that? I hate that phrase, dirty 30s.
It's the worst. It is the worst phrase.
Regardless, it is your birthday, and I want you to truly celebrate the occasion, as we all should. The world should be celebrating your birthday, and we will. But Patrick, you have been treated to an exclusive trip to any Disney park you choose, and you will be there with only the group of friends that you invite. Tell me where you're going and who you're bringing with you.
I had a feeling this is going to be my surprise for my birthday, so thank you in advance. You will not be coming with me, but I do thank you for the gift.
You know what? It's your birthday. You do what you want. I just want you to be happy.
Yeah, no, I'm fully aware. That's why you will not be coming with me. Just kidding. You can come to Adam. You know what? I'm gonna break the rules. I'm not going to a Disney park, Adam.
Shocking.
I'm going on a Disney cruise.
I'll allow it. Disney cruise, yes.
I am throwing away the phrase dirty 30, and I'm going to turn it into flirty 30.
Oh my goodness. This means that the crew you're bringing along with us is going to be quite the crew.
Well, we all know that you are my only friend, so I will just be bringing you, but I have insisted that there are only males on this Disney cruise.
A gay Disney cruise that might be redundant. But...
Yeah, we don't have to replace any of the entertainment. We will need a significant amount of more vodka, however.
Maybe the pools can just be filled with vodka.
Yeah, the pool is just one big cooler now. It's just ice and vodka.
This sounds like, quite possibly, the best birthday celebration I will have ever attended, and it's not even my birthday.
Oh, I mean, listen, it's 2020. Who knows what's going to happen? We have to grab life preservers while we can, Adam.
Oh, come on. That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast, and submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See you real soon.